And welcome again to the big match. And among today's 3 First Division games, we have a penalty with an air of controversy to it, a goal in injury time, and a goalkeeper being booked for an incident outside his penalty area. Well, we got plenty more. Besides, of course, we line up like this today. Main match, Arsenal against Leeds.
Graham is amongst them. Graham with his head and Hunter away. Simpson with his head. And Kennedy with his. Radford. Oh, bad luck, Radford. What a tremendous shot on the turn.
Supported by Sheffield United against Spurs.
A good ball to Perryman. The angle's tight. My word, that was pretty close.
And Wolves against Everton.
A little too long.
So, a lot of good stuff coming your way today. Also on the programme, we have the legendary Ferenc Puskás, formerly of Hungary and Real Madrid. Yesterday, Ferenc on the ball took 10 penalties against Gordon Banks. He scored with 6. Just look still at those magical skills of 44-year-old Puskás. He does something else today that we thought might interest you as well. We also take a quick look at your letters today because we've got so much good stuff to get through. But now let's get on with the action, and we pick up what really was the outstanding game of the day. Arsenal, of course, against Leeds United. And look at that lovely picture there. Highbury in the sunshine and almost a capacity crowd. Waiting for a match, of course, that really means so much towards the top of the table. And Arsenal, led out as ever by their Scottish skipper, Frank McClintock. And indeed, there's been a mild reshuffle of the Arsenal side. Eddie Kelly is dropped to substitute. And Peter Simpson comes back into the number 8 shirt. Arsenal, of course, knowing full well that it's going to be quite a battle against a Leeds side that really has started well this season. But a man who's making some impact in the Arsenal side these days and really has established himself in the back four, John Roberts, the Welsh international. Leeds United, this is their first visit to London this season, led out also by a Scottish skipper, Billy Bremner, and now without 4 internationals, goalkeeper Gary Sprake, full-back Terry Cooper, and forwards Mick Jones and Eddie Gray. These really are crippling blows to any side. Terry Yorath now comes into the back four. Rod Belfitt gets a chance into the attack. But Leeds, in spite of these injuries, of course, as everybody knows, still a side full of power, strength, and know-how. Always very, very difficult to beat. But a man in the Leeds side today getting one of those rare chances in goal is 23-year-old David Harvey, who in fact wants to move from Leeds because his chances are so few and far between. Referee today, Derek Nippard of Bournemouth. There can't be many taller men than him in the game, and certainly there were no bigger crowds anywhere in England. 51,000 waiting for the start.
So the champions take on the runners-up, and Arsenal defending the goal to our right get us away with their red shirts with white sleeves. Leeds all in white, of course. Terry Yorath into the side because Terry Cooper is injured. Giles to Clark, and now to Bremner. And McNabb and Reaney going in hard for the same ball. And a throw now to the Arsenal. Leeds will have something of a jinx on this Arsenal side. In fact, Arsenal have beaten Leeds only once in their last 17 meetings. And here's Bob Wilson, Billy Bremner waiting for it. Radford to Rice. Leeds, who've yet to play a game at Ellen Road, and yet their form has been very impressive indeed. Lying second in the table and unbeaten in their last 5 games. Arsenal a more faltering start, but they got themselves out of trouble with a win at West Bromwich last week, of course. And here's George Graham. Giles. To Lorimer. Reaney making a run down the right for her, and that's aimed towards Alan Clark and falling for Bob Wilson. Clark, a great snapper up of chances in the penalty area. Rice to Peter Storey. But robbed by Giles. I think we should probably see Storey and Giles together a fair bit. I would think that it might well be Storey's job to pick up Johnny Giles, who does so much in the middle of the field for Leeds United. McClintock there, who does so much at the back for the Arsenal. Back to Wilson. Radford. Kennedy. Great power in young Kennedy. All that a striker needs. And McNabb has gone running forward for this one. Look for it from Graham. Radford now to hit it. Oh! absolutely nothing about it. He was a good 6 yards out of his goal as it went floating back over his head. Well, he can smile now. But what a terrible mistake that would have been from John Radford. In for Gary Sprague, of course, who's got this injured wrist. He doesn't get many first-team chances. Clark. Belfit trying a drag back, and in fact it was Peter Simpson coming back from midfield to a more familiar back four position to tuck it back to Wilson. Giles with a throw. Madeley. Off the referee, and falling in fact for Story, and now McClintock beating his fellow Scott Bremner. Nice careful studied football there by Arsenal, but George Graham a little casual, and Leeds in possession. Billy Bremner through the legs of Graham and Reaney. Lorimer outside it. Peter Lorimer, and Roberts up once more. Graham again very casual on the edge of his own area, and Roberts forcing himself up there. My goodness, that fell for Lorimer and came off Graham. And a free kick to Leeds United. A foul by George Graham on Billy Bremner. Just a little bit casual, if anything, George Graham on the left of that picture. Peter Simpson, the two-man wall. And Lorimer who hits them, and he hit it low, but it came to Rice. And finally Story to get it away just as Jack Charlton was lining up a shot. Story. Giles turning it in again. Wilson has come running for it. Bremner. And Lorimer's gone in on that far side of McNabb. Lorimer, who's the Leeds top scorer this season. Not that that means too much at this stage, but he's put 3 in the back of the net. Green is throw. Graham, Kennedy, McNabb. So little space there, but Arsenal made good use of it as Radford takes it up, and he's got Story sturging up alongside him. Radford with a shot, but blocked by Yorath and Hunter. Bremner. Madeley to Giles. Lorimer. And at least, at last rather, a Reaney run down the right has been rewarded with the ball. Now it's with Giles. Reaney going on again for Leeds United. Played it back for Lorimer to hammer one, and down goes Wilson, and he does well. Even that wasn't vintage Lorimer, but it got the best out of Bob Wilson. Radford winning that nicely in the air. The flick off for Kennedy. And Story now. And Armstrong has gone darting in on the far post. Radford is also in there. And Radford trying one on the turn, and down goes Harvey. Roberts. Story. Well, the managers probably suffer downsight more than the fans do. Don Revie certainly appeared to be suffering a moment ago. Now it's Lorimer. Giles to take it up for him. Belfit. Madeley. Hunter. And Billy Bremner. Giles. Madeley. That must be something like 12 or 13 passes. They've made no headway at all. Hunter. Yorath. And where's it all going to end? Lorimer. Well, there it's ended now with Simpson to Radford. Kennedy. Simpson again. To McNabb. Armstrong. And he also was conscious that Reaney was close behind him and knew if anything had to do anything, he had to do it quickly. And getting himself into trouble there. And it's Belfit to take it up, and he's got Madeley streaking down the right for him. Clark going in the middle, across that Arsenal goal again, and once more, Bob Wilson was equal to it. But a good swift break, and Madeley played his part in it. Now, Kennedy. Played for McNabb, and forward for Story, but Hunter looking so cool there at the back for Leeds United, finding Jack Charlton, and in turn, Paul Reaney. McClintock, very cool indeed. Simpson beating Bremner. Going on, and a shot. Well, a Peter Simpson special. We've seen him over the last couple of seasons quite often come forward and do that. And there always seems to be a deceptive amount of pace in his shots. So Harvey with the goal kick. And McClintock, I think, penalised for calling there. Giles and Roberts to the rescue again for Arsenal. Armstrong. Story. Kennedy to turn it for Radford. George Graham with Reaney slipping at a crucial moment and turned on nicely for Kennedy now. For Simpson again. Well, the best Arsenal move of the match. And Simpson caught it well, but it was a couple of yards wide. A nice flowing move that left Simpson in the clear. And Leeds for the first time really extended. Here's David Harvey then. Derek Nippard, the referee from Bournemouth. Well, that may give Arsenal a bit of heart. Certainly there's been a lack of rhythm about their players. Indeed there was in that League Cup tie against Barnsley. And here's George Armstrong, Kennedy going for too high. Graham straining to get to it. Jack Charlton coming out to challenge him. And a corner. Roberts again has gone up for it. There he is. McClintock also coming up to join him now. Armstrong's corner. And Roberts trying to get in on there. Harvey grabbing it at the second goal. But now Hunter. Clark. And I think a foul by McClintock. Linesman furiously flagging. And referee in agreement. Clark inspecting the damage, and Leeds now preparing for the free kick. Yes, there's the mark. Giles to float it. Yorath has made a burst into the middle. Radford coming back with him. And Belfit trying to get to it, and Madeley's header. But a foul by Belfit. Just under a quarter of an hour to go to half-time, and still no score. Bob Wilson with the free kick for Arsenal. Yes, a push by Hunter on Radford, and right in front of the referee. Arsenal's free kick. And Arsenal really have sprung a lot of men forward now. Everybody now ahead of McClintock as he takes this free kick. George Graham is amongst them. Graham with his head and Hunter away. Simpson with his head. And Kennedy with his. Radford. Oh, bad luck, Radford. What a tremendous shot on the turn against the post. What a tremendous shot by Radford. Having none of the luck. He's hit the crossbar and now he's hit the post. But how significant too, how almost at a signal, every Arsenal player came forward. And proof, I suppose, that if you do plunge enough men forward, you more than likely will find yourself a chance. Giles. Reaney. Lorimer. Lorimer getting tangled up with McNabb, and now Reaney played carefully to Madeley. Bremner trying to lay it off for Charlton. And Charlton and Story in collision is really some collision. Well, the crowd really have found their voice. A slip by Hunter to Kennedy now. Radford going past Yorath and into the side netting. Showing little emotion, John Radford, but having absolutely none of the luck. Well, the crowd really beginning to warm up as well. And a big crowd it is. Reaney, Belfit. Bremner. Lorimer, arms in the air calling for it, but Madeley instead. Simpson. Rice. 3 Leeds defenders against 2 Arsenal attackers, though. Kennedy following it up quickly, and George Graham in there. A lovely 1-2 with Armstrong. Graham again, and a goal! George Graham through the legs of Harvey, but a magnificent 1-2. A magnificent 1-2 by Arsenal. A 1-2 there with Kennedy playing his part, Armstrong taking it on, and Graham eventually finishing it off between the legs of David Harvey. So 10 minutes to go to half-time, and Arsenal go into the lead. The scorer, George Graham, his first goal of the season. And there really can rarely have been a more classic example of a 1-2 than that. Armstrong. And Charlton craning that neck and getting ahead of Kennedy, but McNabb, Graham, and McClintock going up the right as though his life depended on it. And Burnshaw calmly directing the traffic. Steve Burtonshaw, Kennedy, Graham to Armstrong. Story, Graham, and a 1-2 that time that didn't quite come off. Jack Charlton. And a foul by Armstrong on Reaney. A look of injured innocence. But a free kick to Leeds United. And the crowd behind that Leeds United goal, a mass of red and white scarves now. And now it's Lorimer. Stopped by McNabb. Pulled down from the back, and Lorimer in fact wanted to take it quickly, but the referee, I think, keener to have a word with John Roberts, denying Leeds the chance of taking it quickly. Roberts to get ahead to it. Kennedy. Story. Played for Armstrong, played nicely for Graham, and down goes Graham, taken by Norman Hunter. As the ball began to flow a lot more smoothly now for Arsenal. Armstrong with the floating free kick, and good work there by Harvey. Under a lot of pressure from Kennedy, and he did well there. Roberts really not quite getting in the way, and McNabb surely obstructing Belfit. Rice, Wilson. Off the head of Hunter, in fact. Yorath to Jack Charlton. Clark, but nodded straight to Simpson. Radford again wandering down that right. Collision there between Radford and Yorath, and the book is coming out. He's going to be booked for his feet too dangerously high on Radford, who is in a lot of pain. Terry Yorath. I think he's explained to the referee that the ball was that chest high, he couldn't get down to it with his head. If he was going to do anything, he had to get up to it with his feet. But Mr. Nippard not listening. Instead, the name of Yorath goes into the book. And I think Yorath would be well advised not to answer back again. I wonder what the reaction of Don Revie with that would be. So George Graham with the free kick, and Hunter to get it away. Clark. Madeley to Lorimer. Giles to Yorath. Giles again, and Rice covering up any possible 1-2 that Leeds were trying to play down the left. And given Leeds United's way, a free kick. Well, into injury time now at the end of the first half, and in fact there goes the whistle for half-time, with Arsenal leading by a goal to nil, scored just 10 minutes from half-time by George Graham. Really the best flowing move of the match, and Arsenal looking very impressive indeed in the last quarter of an hour. Still to come for you to enjoy on the big match this afternoon. Highlights of Sheffield United against Spurs and Wolves against Everton. But the half-time score here at Highbury is Arsenal 1, Leeds United 0, and we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes. Just going up. Charlie George, the young Arsenal player trying to come back from injury, and the man that so many Arsenal fans say the side is missing, although Arsenal in the last quarter of an hour of that first half looking very impressive indeed, and leading by 1-0. So now it's Paul Madeley. To Yorath. To Norman Hunter. Belfit not quite getting that, and Bremner trying to burst through into a dangerous position in the middle of that area. And now it's George Graham a long one away to try and get Kennedy, and Reaney covering very well indeed. Back to Harvey. Giles. And Roberts again. Hunter. Reaney to Madeley. Slipping. But now Yorath. Hunter. Going to hit one, and Wilson watching it all the way. Armstrong. Played for Graham. Simpson. Graham again. The tempo and the pace still very much reduced. Armstrong to Graham. And the throw given to Arsenal. Good quick throw by Armstrong to find George Graham. Hunter. Reaney. Uncharacteristic there of Leeds United, taking 2 or 3 goes to get it away, and they still haven't got it away. Kennedy there, now Story trying to hit one on the turn. And Harvey late seeing it from Peter Story. George Graham. Bradford. Tricked Yorath, and a shot just wide again. Bradford with so much more skill than a lot of people give him credit for. They see him as a good player in the air with a powerful shot, but he's got a lot of good skills on the ground as well. Roberts. 3 Leeds defenders against 2 Arsenal attackers. Kennedy winning it in the air. Reaney, who has been faultless. Yorath. Madeley. Hunter. Bremner. Finding Yorath. Hunter now. Bremner. Bremner, in fact, only half challenged there by Rice, but he looked behind for the referee, and here's Giles with a great chance, and a fine save by Wilson. Well, that's probably the best chance the Leeds United had, and Giles very nearly made the most of it. Wilson was absolutely magnificent. Giles again to turn it in once more. Clark going for it, and once more Wilson gathering that ball above his head. We've now had 3 very fine saves from Bob Wilson this afternoon. And now McClintock. Bradford. And now it's Armstrong. Floated there towards Kennedy, but having it fisted off his head by Harvey. And now Yorath to take up the running for Leeds United. Giles to Lorimer. Giles and Belfitt again desperately trying to get it through to Bremner, and Bremner stopped by McClintock. Roberts now to Radford. Armstrong. Simpson, not a good pass there by Armstrong. It gave Simpson a run that he needn't have had, and gave Leeds the chance to get possession, which they've got now, with Madeley striding forward. Bremner here with him. Bremner trying to find the angle for the shot. In the end, couldn't find the room. Hunter now. Giles right up with the attack. Slowly but surely, Leeds putting more and more emphasis on attack, with more and more men coming forward for them. The ball's still in play. And now Kennedy. Maybe that'll give Arsenal the chance that they're looking for. Radford is streaking into a central position. Still Kennedy going on. Trying to hold off Madeley. And still he goes on, and down he goes, and a penalty. The penalty given. Reaney on Kennedy. And Madeley is, Reaney is absolutely horrified by it. But the referee is adamant, and I should think Don Revie probably isn't terribly happy with it either. But the referee was there, and he says a penalty. Well, Peter Storey will be the man who takes it. The man who scored that dramatic penalty in the semi-final. And that's the man who's got to stop it, David Harvey. Storey making absolutely sure. Harvey is poised. And they've got to stay outside that penalty area as Storey comes up. And a great, almost a great save there by Harvey, pushing it into the roof of the net. He's wild with himself, but Storey has scored and put Arsenal 2 up. Played high, Harvey gets a hand to it, but into the roof of the net. 2-0 then to Arsenal. And Billy Bremner looking disgusted at the referee. Storey delighted to have scored the second one. A tremendous run by Kennedy into that position from which the penalty came. Don Remy not very happy either. Still that Leeds substitute warming up on the far side, Joe Jordan. The young Scot, 19 years old, yet to play in the first division. Bremner. Lorimer, with Reaney going outside him. Still Lorimer, curled there towards Belfit. Good work there by Wilson. Really, for courage, there is no beating Bob Wilson. Storey nicely aside for Armstrong, and still Armstrong, but his shot is charged down. Simpson. Graham without too much room to manoeuvre in. Kennedy to Gundogan, just over that crossbar. But a very good Arsenal move indeed. Jordan. Clark. Bremner. Well played there by Simpson, but now Madeley to follow it in. Lorimer. And Jordan waiting it for it, the substitute, but well over. Now in the final minute of the game. And it looks as though Leeds United, who took 3 points out of 4 from Arsenal last season, will go away empty-handed this time. Yorath. And there goes the final whistle, in fact 15 seconds early. But it's a final whistle that says victory for Arsenal by 2-0. George Graham scoring the first goal, and then Peter Storey scoring the second one from the penalty spot after a great run by Ray Kennedy. So a victory that Arsenal will be very happy indeed about, and a final scoreline here at Highbury that reads Arsenal 2, Leeds United 0.
So Arsenal very happy indeed with the 2 points they got against Leeds United. And still to come on the programme today, highlights of Sheffield United against Spurs and Wolves against Everton. Now, this morning's newspapers seem to be sharply divided over 2 issues at Highbury yesterday. The News of the World and the People want recognition for Ray Kennedy, give Kennedy a cap, Kennedy set for England. While the Sunday Express say, well, Arsenal, was it really a penalty? 2 points there for Jimmy Hill, but above all, Jim, are Arsenal as good as they were?
Well, unlike a few of their supporters up to now, I think that they are. In fact, I think maybe they're stronger because there's increasing competition for first-team places. At the back, one young man who's increased that competition even more is John Roberts. I confess to being a little wrong about him because I thought he was too set, too stiff, too nervous, really, to make the kind of player he is at the moment. Watch just a few of the things he did yesterday. In the air, of course, he's extremely dominating at the back. He really blotted Alan Clark and Belfit out of the game. They had no chance there. But on the ground, too, he can go in quickly, nippily, and make the right kind of tackle to prevent danger. We pick him up now, showing just from a goal kick just how much Alan Clark was dominated by him. Almost by this stage of the game, really, he wasn't even getting off the floor. John Roberts in the air, wonderful athlete, plenty of confidence, and really a player to watch for the future. But more than that, up front too, John Radford had a game, as good a game really as I've ever seen him have. Superb performance, superb confidence, great speed, and rivaling Chivers, really, for the striker of North London. Never mind about Kennedy, he was playing his part to the full. His shooting impressed me very much indeed. Just watch this early on as the ball bounces out, quick volley, on the bar, and luckily that didn't take the lead. And then again, this control, we've seen this a couple of times already, but I think it's worth looking at again. As the ball comes over, look at the quick control there, neat movement and tremendous power in that volley, which hit a post. But his pace was the thing that really kept Leeds on the hop yesterday, and determination. Look at this acceleration. Nothing's going to stop him getting his foot to that ball first and getting it across. And once again, we get a chance to see the neat control of a big man and a quick shot there which just missed the post. Radford in splendid form. And more than that, his partner Kennedy seems to have picked up even extra confidence as a result of last season's exploits. Without any doubt, this is an extremely dangerous combination, more dangerous than last season. Let's look how Kennedy brought about that penalty. It was disputed, but we had a camera there in a perfect position behind the goal to judge what happened in this incident. It's a very strong run, and he begins to take on two players there. One continues to chase him, and then as Reaney comes across, just watch, he plays the ball past him. I think most referees would give this as obstruction, if anything, and tries to get to the ball. But in the end, you see, as he puts his foot through there, he goes over the top as Reaney puts his foot through there, and the ref thought that was a trip. I think maybe Arsenal were fractionally lucky to get away with it. Here's Story now coming up to convert the penalty. Just watch what happens here and what a splendid attempt Harvey makes to save it. He doesn't move too soon. He does seem to know the way it's going. I wonder whether he picked that up from television and Stoke last year. But more than that, Arsenal played some good football. Maybe in flashes, maybe this time in more than flashes. We've seen some wonderful goals that they've scored as a result of slick 1-2 movements. I don't think we've seen a better one than the goal that really won them the game yesterday. Let's take one more look at that, looking at the part that all players played in it. A mistake there from Jackie Charlton. I must say I was disappointed when you think all he's done for England that he was booed at times yesterday. But watch now the skill of Arsenal. Beautiful ball from Kennedy, laid off by Graham, and there's Armstrong, perfectly lay into space. In case you think the goalkeeper's at fault here in not being able to move his feet, he's expecting to save it with his hands, and his feet are rooted to the floor as that goes through his legs. There it is, the skill and the power of Arsenal creating the goal that won the game. I'm quite sure in my own mind that this season, although they may not achieve as much as last season, which is almost asking for a further miracle, that they are going to be a power to be reckoned with, and I think they're going to provide more football for us to enjoy than we did see from them before.
Well, after that note of optimism for all Arsenal fans from Jimmy Hill, it's time for some more action, and a chance for us, in fact, to look at Everton, who, like Leeds United, really have been hit hard by injuries this season. They are, in fact, just 4 off the bottom of the First Division table, and yesterday, though, they got a very good point indeed against Wolves at Molineux. The pictures come from ATV. The commentator, Hugh Johns. Wolves are in the lighter shirts, and watch out now for the booking of Everton goalkeeper Gordon West.
Chance for Parkin. The inaccuracy of some of those Wolves' passing movements, really pretty miserable. Now Dugan is onside. That was West who's going to get booked for that. A deliberately stopping Dugan. Gordon West going in the book. Norman Burtonshaw, his 6th booking of the season. Hurst banging it forward. Johnson on the jump. Kenny now. Scott. Ball. Park in the nod back to Parks. Scott losing it to Wagstone. The break on. Hegan in the middle. There's Hegan. That'll do it. Danny Hegan. 1-0 then for the Wolves. Danny Hegan's 2nd league goal for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And it was quite clear that once Wagstaff had the beating of Scott on that left side. Hegan trotted through the middle, had no trouble at all. The goal was there for the taking all the way. The free kick's been given, of course. Newton with it. Alan Ball, Bill Kenny. And the referee got a touch. McCall gets it in the face. Darricott down the line for Whittle. And still, the pressure on. Everton's first corner of the game. See what they make of it. Alan Whittle. Alan Ball in with a chance here. Oh, we have it that well. And number 7, Joe Royle, has put it in there. That's the equaliser. 29 minutes of the second half gone. Alan Ball, a very delighted fella. There's the scorer, Joe Royle, and the scoreline 1-1. Well, Alan Ball really had the best chance from the corner kick of Alan Whittle. But when it was charged down, easiest scoring chance you ever saw then for Joe Royle as he gets his first goal of the season.
Well, certainly I don't think anyone can have any doubts that Everton goalkeeper Gordon West deserved to have his name taken by referee Norman Burtonshaw there. And I suppose when you consider, too, some of the things that players are booked for these days, that West might even have been a little lucky not to have been sent off, because obviously that incident grossly affected the result of that Wolves-Everton game. Well, now let's go on to something a little lighter, and in fact we go to just a quick look at some of your letters. Mr. G. Swerner of Southgate, London N14, and Jim Rayner of Dagenham in Essex both spotted something from last week's Chelsea-Coventry game, that fine game at Stamford Bridge. We thought it was worth looking at again. They claimed that one Coventry free kick was taken when in fact the ball was way off the field of play. I think this is probably the incident they were referring to. The ball played over to the left-hand side of the field, and there's Chris Garland just tapping the ball out of play. John O'Rourke comes up, and I think you can see that our hawk-eyed big match viewers are absolutely right again, and that free kick is taken with the ball outside the field of play. I suppose the other point that you could also make is that referees have so much to look for these days that maybe they just missed out on that particular incident. But now we turn to Ferenc Puskás, and I was telling you how yesterday he took 10 penalties in our on-the-ball programme against Gordon Banks at Highbury, and he scored with 6 of them. But he did something else as well while we were there filming, and we thought this might interest you as well. The wonderful Ferenc Puskás and his skills. The police music, of course, because that is a tremendous lesson in football control. I suppose most professionals watching would say, well, I can do that as well. Well, maybe they can. But remember, Puskás went from the edge of the penalty area to the goal line, never really hurrying his stride, always with the ball firmly under control. You try that for yourself. Our last action today, in fact, and for that we have Spurs. They went north yesterday to the new league leaders, Sheffield United. Really, I suppose it was a case of the new masters meeting the old masters. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television. Commentator Keith Macklin and Sheffield United are in the stripes.
Trying to chip it over for Dearden, but again the figure of England is there, helped on by Peters. Hockey. Badger. Woodward. Good move this by Sheffield. Put across. Ted Hensley couldn't really get hold of that. Tried to stab it in, but got no power behind it. And it looks as if yet again the whistle has gone. Pat Jennings may well have been penalised. Pat Jennings taking the ball just out of the area. Curry chipping it over. Flynn was moving in, and it's a goal! It's a goal! It's there! Scrambled at the top of the net. It looked like an own goal by one of Spurs defenders. A man talking to the goalkeeper there. Joe Kinnear, I think, an own goal. But whoever put the finishing have gone into the lead. We're in injury time of the first half. And what an eventful first half this has been. Still the Spurs looking for that equaliser. Chivers going out to take this specialist long throw. And they can afford to do without him in the middle as the ball comes over. Gilzine netting it backwards and penalised for pushing. Alan Gilzine. Gilzine trying to find Coates. Mullery. Perryman. Mullery. Beale. Oh, it's... What a goal! A magnificent effort by Martin Peters, right on the half-time whistle. A superb header by Martin Peters, a beautifully flighted cross, and Peters, as so often he has done for both West Ham United and for Spurs and for England, was in the right position. A beautifully placed header.
That Spurs' own goal, in fact, came off Mike England, but there are more straightforward goals in the second half.
Chivers. That ball bouncing over the top of Cahoon. Gilzine. A good ball to Perryman. The angle's tight. My word, that was pretty close. Perryman, a very sharp angle, put that one on the top of the netting. Young Steve Perryman, this teenager who came to the forefront last season, chipped that one just over the top. Bit of misdirection there between Perryman and Mullery. This is Salmons. Good chip. Scullion! It's there! Wonderful goal! What a superb goal! Salmons the centre. Little Stuart Scullion. Perfectly placed header, and Sheffield United go back into the lead. We're in the last minute of this game, and what a marvellous match it's been. Hemsley. Hockey getting up as we're in injury time. This is Woodward boring in on goal, trying to get his right foot in action. He prefers that right foot. Oh, and he almost got it past Jennings. Jennings wasn't at all confident with that. He got it round the... I think the pace of the ball deceived him. He expected a much harder shot than that. May have mistimed his dive, but he got it round the post. That ball sailing across the area and away to the right. Well, obviously Sheffield United aren't in any hurry to get rid of the ball. Spurs, of course, are. They must realise the seconds are ticking away for them. Pratt, Peters pushing a long one for Chivers to chase, and Cahoon walloping it away. Not a man for half measures. Certainly not at a time like this. But it's Spurs on the attack, and what a finish it would be if they equalised. Here's Chivers with a long throw, this last desperate throw, quite literally, of Tottenham Hotspur. Chivers right into the middle. Peters a header, and is it there? It's a goal, they've done it!
And the man who's done it, Alan Gilsey. What a beautifully worked move. Chivers the throw, Peters a header, and right on the line is Gilsey to put the finishing touches. Well, what a dramatic way to finish the game. A carbon copy of the first half, with a goal in the dying seconds of the half.
Significant thing about both those Spurs goals, Martin Peters winning balls beautifully in the air. He really does seem to be having a fine season for the Spurs. That's it from the programme today. Hope you've enjoyed it. On the Ball in World of Sport next Saturday lunchtime, remember, and the big match next Sunday afternoon. And in London, a new kick-off time, 2:15. The big match in London next Sunday, 2:15. We leave you, of course, with action. That George Graham goal for Arsenal against Leeds yesterday, the wonderful 1-2.
Attackers, though. Kennedy following it up quickly, and George Graham in there. A lovely 1-2 with Armstrong. Graham again, and a goal! George Graham!